Hola, and welcome in to Hold My Banner. If you love this show, first of all, thank you. We love you back. But also, check out Foxborough Rush, available on Nesson as well. George and I get you ready for the Patriots draft. They're drafting 4th overall. They can't mess this up, right? Right. Check out Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else you get your podcast. All right, here we go. Hold my banner. Just hold it. Ha ha. Travis Thomas here with the walking, talking, triple-double. That means buckets, rebounds, assists. He does it all. Ante Campbell, how you doing, Papi?
I'm doing great, two T's. You know, it's madness time, dog. You know, this is what I live for, man. So I'm excited to be talking about that today with you, dog.
Well, as always, you're humble. You did participate in a few March Madnesses, right? Were you in 2 or 1? I know
one.
Fresno.
Just one.
Just one. Early in your college career.
Yep.
Can you tell us a Fresno March Madness story, please?
Yeah. So I'll be quick and brief, but, you know, we played against Utah. We were a 13 seed against a 4 seed.
All right.
And, you know, we played against Kuzma and Jacob Poeltl, 2 NBA stars. And, man, I can tell you, we played in Denver at the time, Pepsi Center, now Ball Arena.
Yeah.
And, man, it was a crazy time. George and I have talked about how we ran into each other there.
That's
he was covering Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And I was at Fresno State. Man, what a great time.
That's cool.
College basketball, just being at the epicenter. I give you one quick moment. Mm-hmm. Me walking into class after we won the conference tournament. You know, on Selection Sunday, we do Selection Sunday at school. Yeah. Monday, walking into class before we take off on that jet to Denver. Man, I got a standing ovation.
Come on.
And I was just like, hey, I'm just a freshman on the team, dog. But, you know, everyone was so excited. So it was such a lit moment. So congratulations to all those student athletes who are getting the chance to live that moment right now.
Well, listen, bro, I mean, like you described that as one quick moment. I describe it as one shining moment because you were there. Yeah. You were in it. And we'll hear that song and someone will cut down the nets. I've always said this, Ante, March Madness, I just think this time of year is great for hoop fans, period.
Yeah.
Because think about this. Not only do you get the tourney for the men's and the women's side, which we'll talk about in this episode,
yep,
but the NBA regular season is coming to an end as well. So it's a great time to be a hoops fan.
It is.
However, it's not the best time to be a 76ers fan or even a Paul George fan for that matter.
Yeah.
So reports now, Paul George out for the year with multiple injuries.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking knees and groins and all kinds of stuff going on here. Here's the Shams. I call it the Shams bomb now, even though Woj is gone, Tay. So Shams comes out with this, that Paul George is out for the season. So, I mean, look, no shock to anyone. He's been in and out all year. He's been a mess. We both talked about in the last offseason, we didn't hate the move. We didn't hate taking the gamble here with Paul George. But we also talked about this is part of the gamble.
Yeah.
Is that he'll be unavailable. And he had given the Clippers some healthy years. So both of us felt like, man, either he's healthy fully and he's turned that corner, or we're going to get Paul George who's banged up. And unfortunately for the 76ers, you got worst case scenario across the board, Ante. You got Joel Embiid, often hurt. You got Paul George, often hurt. And it never worked out from the beginning. They never got off the ground. Tay, this feels a lot to me like the Nets teams of the past. One in the way past and then one in the not so past.
Okay.
Going back to Paul Pierce and KG's Nets. Remember that team?
Yeah.
I mean, they were always hurt. They were old.
They were older.
But then the KD and the Harden and the Kyrie
100%
teams,
with you there,
which is more recent, and they're more in their prime, they were hurt. Yeah. So it's just it feels like that with the 76ers. This feels like an all-time letdown team.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me question: is this the worst free agent signing of all time? Like,
I don't know about that. I mean,
it might be.
it might be.
It might be. Looking
might
at
be.
what Paul George gave. Okay, coming into this season, I want to let people remember, I was harping on the fact that the 76ers were in a perfect position, right?
Yes.
They had Joel Embiid on payroll. They had B-ball Paul Reed on payroll.
Yeah.
And they had nobody else. We knew that Tyrese Maxey was going to resign, and he did. Great
Right.
deal for them. You know, he's missing some time too right now, but a young guard, they think they're guard of the future, and I would agree with them, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it was hey, you have nobody on the payroll, a lot of great options out there.
Right.
Are you going to be able to fill this team and make this team better? Obviously, we didn't predict that this was going to happen.
No.
We were nervous about, yes, Paul George and Embiid being on the team together and being healthy. But we were also happy with the fact that PG was supposed to be a third option for this team, right?
Yes.
And as a third option, he should be able to fit in and do a lot of the things that Tobias Harris never gave the 76ers.
That's right.
Now we're looking at it on the outside and saying, dang, Tobias is over there playing playoff basketball with the Pistons, looking decent, and the 76ers still stink.
Yeah.
So it makes me question, was this the worst free agent signing of all time?
I mean,
Travis,
I
let
don't
me give you the
wanna be-
numbers. Let me give you the
I know.
numbers. Let me give you the numbers.
It feels prisoner of the moment.
Let me give you the numbers.
All right.
Joel Embiid and Paul George this season
Yeah.
have made $100 million.
Move your going money.
$738 together.
It's a lot of cabbage.
They have scored
No.
1,000 points. 1,117 points, Travis.
Not going to get it done.
1,117 points.
Yeah. That's
got to be historically bad. It's got to be.
historically, when you crunch the numbers for the money, it's got to be the worst of all time.
Right.
There's no doubt. Look.
It's got to be like Luau Deng levels.
Yes.
Timothy Mozgov levels.
And those guys did not have the expectations of these two.
Right.
Right?
And I'm not putting Joel Embiid as far as the signing part, but Paul George?
Yeah.
I mean, Quentin Grimes has been doing more for the city of Philadelphia than Paul George
he
did.
has.
And he just got there.
Yeah, he has. All right. Here's a bigger question. Looking forward
Yes.
for the 76ers,
Talk to me.
do you trust either Paul George or Joel Embiid moving forward? Because I still don't. And again, you know, you're right. Like, we were both nervous about this happening.
Yep.
We didn't see it happening. I think both of us thought the 76ers would be a real player in the Eastern Conference, although we both had the Celtics above them.
Yeah.
Okay. But, man, at this point now, even though you and I's worst case scenario happened surrounding this team, I have zero faith that this isn't the new normal. Like, I don't know if Paul George will ever be the same player.
Right.
And then Joel Embiid, I don't know if he'll ever be healthy. So even if Paul George gives me a stretch where he doesn't get hurt, I still don't think he can be the same guy.
Yeah.
And Embiid, I just don't trust to ever be hurt ever or to be healthy ever.
You know, and I hear you on that. I think Embiid's situation can get figured out.
How?
I just do.
It's knees and feet, Tay.
I hear you.
These
And
are big guys.
And he's a big guy, 7-footer. Yeah, but I still think at some point he might be able to put a season together.
Okay.
Just because he's a little bit younger than Paul George.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's still in his prime when he does play. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Paul George, I feel like, is older, injured, and not in his prime.
And expensive.
And you know what I'm saying? At least Embiid, I know, is still in his prime when he does play basketball.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about that with him. When he plays, he's going to play well, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say I trust him a little bit more in that sense. What the real question is, I have two big ones that I want to ask you.
All right.
The first one is, because I know how you feel about this guy.
Who?
Bradley Beal. Would you rather have Bradley Beal's contract
God.
or Paul George's contract at this point?
God, they're both so awful. I'd still rather Paul George, I think. I would. You know why? Beal has too much power. I'll tell you. We talked about this. The no trade clause and all that.
But like, you can't move PG. You couldn't move PG if you wanted to right now.
Don't get it twisted. What I'm saying, I'm answering your question. They are both atrocious contracts, but I would rather Paul George's because once upon a time, I sound like a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Paul George was arguably the best two-way player in the league.
Yes.
But certainly an elite player.
Yes.
Okay? You never won anything with him, but at least you could say he's an elite talent.
Right.
Bradley Beal fleeced the Wizards.
Yeah.
And I said that at the time in that town. He fleeced the Wizards. He got paid like an elite player. He got a no-trade clause like a beyond elite. I mean, he got a LeBron James contract in terms of power.
Yeah.
He never deserved any of that.
Okay.
So you can't move either. Both contracts are an albatross, but at the same time, I'll take my chances with an aging Paul George than a guy who was never as good as prime Paul George. Does that make sense?
I guess.
They both suck, Tay.
I guess. Look, before I ask you the second one, look, I would be remiss to mention this.
What?
On March 14th, the NBA set an investigation on the 76ers about Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George missing games. So, and then on March 17th, that's when we got the news about Paul George being out. Tyrese Maxey's missed 8 games. I think they should probably try to sit him out. I brought that up to say I think what the 76ers were doing, they were like, we're going to put some shots in your knee and your groin and all that other stuff because we don't want the NBA fishing around anymore. We just want them to know you're out.
Right.
Well, you had these shots. You got to sit out the next 6 weeks. Let's just, whatever. I don't even think he's probably that injured right now, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, this is hurting you. We're going to put some stuff in your body to make you shut down for a little bit so we can, lose and maybe get Cooper Flag. Now, look, the second question that I want to ask you is this. If you're a Philly fan, or if you're a fan in general,
at least you have the Eagles.
Would you be more surprised by the Eagles repeating or the 76ers making the Eastern Conference Finals next season? This season's over. They get Cooper Flag. They bend the envelope.
That's actually a great question.
Adam Silver helps them get Cooper Flag. Joel Embiid plays 34 games.
No, that's a great question.
Paul George plays more games next year, maybe a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable with them.
Well, listen, I mean, the honest answer is the 76ers to the answer to the question, but I do think it's a fair question. I'm going to take Cooper Flag out of it.
Okay.
Who I love.
Right.
But I like this roster, and I actually think it's worth running it back just one more season.
One more, yeah. 100%.
Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, all the guys you name, even
Nick
Grimes
Nurse.
now.
Yep.
You got to throw Grimes in. Oubre.
Yep.
They have guys. Nick Nurse, the coach.
Yep.
It's worth running it back. The issue I have is
Jared McCain, who's also out for the season too.
Oh, good point.
Right.
You almost forget about it.
Right, because that was so long ago.
That's right. So I think it's worth running it back, but if you get the same result again, how long are we going to play this game? The definition of insanity, right? Like, how long are we going to play this? Joel Embiid can't stay healthy.
Yep.
Paul George can't stay healthy, and he's old. Tyrese Maxey's giving you everything he got, but he's only one guy.
He needs to sit out,
and then all these injuries. By the way, no one ever brings this up, and I only do it because I just play a doctor on Hold My Banner.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you have teams with players who get hurt and a history of it, no one ever looks into the damn training staff of the team and the medical staff of the team.
Right,
Maybe this is a 76ers. Maybe you need to fire every damn medical person you have.
Yeah.
And start over.
I remember when the Chargers did it when their medical issues were piling up.
No one ever brings it up.
Right.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It has to be, right? You said it. Jared McCain, Paul George. I mean, Paul George and Embiid have always been injury-prone guys, but Embiid's always been with the 76ers. You know what I'm saying? What about Tyrese Maxey now with the back? He's been virtually healthy throughout his career. All of a sudden, he's now missed 8 games in a row, as we're recording this. So, you're 100% right. You got to look at that staff as a whole, dog.
Hey, man, I'll tell you this before we move on. I mean, I just feel like the Celtics have ruined every franchise now. Honestly, the franchise ended the process. That's over. It's done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's done. The Heat with Jimmy Butler and Spo and all them Finish them too.
Yep.
Giannis is not far behind. Okay, this Giannis Dame thing, they're next.
They won one in the Celtics era, though. Come on.
Well,
they won one in the Celtics era.
Not Giannis and Dame.
Not Giannis and
That's
Dame.
All
but
I'm
they
talking
won
about,
one in the Celtics era. But you're right. Because they took their boy Drew and went to go win one
That's
with
right.
them. So
that's all I'm saying.
You're right.
These teams who have been designed to beat this iteration of the Celtics are ending all of them. And I think it's beautiful. By the way, I think the Knicks are next too.
Oh,
so, listen, run it back 76ers.
What about the Cavs? The Cavs next too? Go ahead and say it. You talking spicy, go ahead and say it.
I'm not willing to say they're ending them because, by the way, they'll beat them this year like they did last year. I still believe that.
Yeah.
I think the Cavs may be up next. Ooh. I think the Cavs may be up next.
We gonna see.
But that's another topic for a Hold My Banner next season because we're focused on Banner 19, of course, around here. Want to hear all about Boston sports? In fact, check out Nesson's Daily Sports Podcast. Boston has entered the chat. You, too, can enter the conversation by simply tweeting at us using the hashtag NessonChat. You can always email us, too, thechat@nesson.com. Boston has entered the chats available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, Tay, sound the trumpets, release the doves. It's March Madness time, baby. Woo! We'll start with the men's bracket.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to take you all behind the curtain a bit here as we look at this beautiful bracket for our viewing audience, for our listening audience. You know what it looks like. You filled them out your entire life. Now, I'll take you behind the curtain. This morning I get in. Say good morning to the walking, talking, triple-double, Ante Campbell. We sit down to discuss the show. First question out of his mouth, not how you slept last night, not how's your day going. No. He said, hey, did you fill out your bracket like with a pen and paper? And I said, yeah, I've been doing that since the beginning of time. And he laughed like he is now. Tone, take this shot. Look at Ante laughing at me for filling out a bracket. What am I missing? Is everything electronic now? Am I behind the times for handwriting my bracket? Is that a problem?
Yeah,
okay.
Come to the new age. I filled mine out online and then I printed it out like a normal
It's much
human
faster
being.
your way.
It's 2025. Yeah, I ain't gotta write no names. I just click, dog. Come on, man.
And you've seen my handwriting too, Tay. I can't even read some of these.
I can't lie. The printout I got is grayed out, so I'm looking at it like you, like an old man. I'm got my Popeye eye out looking at this dang bracket. But
let's get our trifocals on and look at these brackets here. I guess before we even get to our Final Four and Cinderellas, what jumped out to you on Selection Sunday? You know, the brackets come out, they're fresh. You see the 1 seeds, you see all these teams, the matchups. What sort of jumped out to you before we go deep dive?
Yeah, I mean, what jumped out to me is the same thing that jumped out to everybody. Yeah. How did North Carolina get into this tournament?
I know.
You know, how on the men's side, how did they do it? And you sit there and you say, oh, well, the AD of North Carolina is hosting, you know, all the people who are making these decisions.
Yeah, he's on the committee.
And he's on the committee, and he's saying that he's not, you know, talking to anybody or persuading anybody. That's malarkey. We know how this goes. If I'm with Travis Thomas, and I can tell you right now, he has an opportunity to give me a leg up, he going to give me a leg up, dog.
That's a fact.
And that committee was going to get North Carolina some money in their pockets. Right. You know this is about money, dog.
Always.
So, you know, shout out to North Carolina. They're in the tournament, but it sucks for Indiana. It sucks for West Virginia, and it sucks for Ohio State. But these three teams, you know, they didn't do what they needed to do in their own conference tournaments.
Facts.
Indiana, if you go win a game. Ohio State, if you go win a game. Right. You have that opportunity to really, really fight. And I see West Virginia's taking legal action and all that other stuff, and they should. But at the end of the day, North Carolina is here. I was also a little shocked by Texas, but them going and winning 2 games in their conference tournament for the SEC put them in. So congrats to them. They went and won a game against Texas A&M that no one thought they could win. And they went and came back and won in overtime and won. Right. Shout out to them. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what jumped out to me. It's funny, the athlete on the show goes to who was snubbed, who barely got in, who didn't, sort of that competitive nature in you. Yeah. Where the guy, the loudmouth, the media member of the show here, looked at all the 1 seeds. And honestly, I'm someone who picks apart 1 seeds.
Yep.
Every year I'm like, okay, this is the strongest, this is the weakest. I don't trust them. I don't trust. Honestly, I'm looking at my bracket right now, Tay.
Yeah.
I can read my handwriting here. I trust all these 1 seeds. Auburn, I trust. Florida, I trust. Either one of those teams could win the whole shebang-a-bang. I actually have them playing in the Final Four against each other.
Yeah.
Houston can win this whole thing.
They could.
Duke, Duke is capable of winning this whole thing, but it's simply because of how great I think Cooper Flagg is.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about his ankle. Not that he's not going to play. Not that he's not tough. Yeah. Not that he can't even possibly play himself healthy. We've seen that happen, too, in these tournaments. Sometimes these great players are hobbled to start. If their team can sort of tread water, get them to that second weekend, there are breaks here.
Yeah.
But you have to get to the Sweet 16 to get a break. You feel me? So sometimes some of these great players can play themselves healthy. We'll see if that happens with Cooper Flagg. I'm a little concerned about that. Early on, I want to see how Duke looks early in this tournament. If they don't get bounced because his health is iffy, I think Duke can win this whole thing. I like the 1 seeds. I think trust factor, Auburn and Florida, I trust the most.
Okay.
Even though Houston has been knocking on a championship door, Ante, for years now.
They have.
And it's usually, and you could speak more to this than I can, but it's defense, Sampson with the coaching, and then they're kind of missing sort of a go-to guy, a playmaker that can get buckets late. They have that now in Cryer.
Yep.
So I think Houston's right there. I would probably put them right behind Auburn and Florida in terms of trust. Auburn and Florida just wire to wire all season long, complete teams, tough teams, well-coached teams. Florida's hotter right now. I think Auburn's a little better. And then Duke, as I mentioned. So I didn't go this route in my bracket, Tay, all chalk with 1 seeds.
Yeah.
But I like all 4 of these 1 seeds.
I'm right there with you. I didn't go that way either. I got some other guys sneaking in there, but, I'm with you. It was tough. I was looking at this bracket, and I was like, man, but this 1 seed, like, they're really good.
They are
and
good.
so, it made me question, like, man, can one of these darlings, one of these Cinderellas really knock off, one of these 1 seeds? And there's probably 1 or 2 where I'm like, yeah, maybe they could.
Yeah.
Duke makes me nervous, like you said, because of Cooper Flagg's health and all this other stuff. I think Houston always makes me nervous just because of the offensive side of the basketball, which they have not been great at over the years and years and years that they've had. They've been a great defensive team, offensive team slouching a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that can always hurt you in a 1-game elimination type of tournament. So I know last year, years before that, Final Four, Elite Eight, all this other stuff, appearances, but this year's team ain't last year's team,
That's
dog.
right.
Every year is a new opportunity, a new team, a new 1 game. 1 game is all it comes down to. But, yeah, I want to know what Cinderellas you think are kind of going to be dancing here around in a little bit.
As you know, it always goes back to gambling for me.
Hey, as it should.
There was 1 team I bet on in their conference tournament that played really well, and I saw them beat some really good teams on the way to winning their conference tournament, and that's a CAA, and that's UNC Wilmington.
Okay.
And that is a very athletic team. What worries me
against
little,
Texas Tech. Yep.
Texas Tech is one of the best offensive teams in the country.
Yeah.
They're kind of like a poor man's Alabama in the SEC. Alabama can score like an NBA team, but they also play defense like the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like, in other words, they don't.
Right.
They don't play defense, but they can outscore you. Texas Tech, there's a little bit of that there, too. High-scoring team, not great on the defensive end. UNC Wilmington is a very athletic team.
Yeah.
They're a senior-laden team.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like they're not going to be, the moment's not too big. So I think that's one I have my eye on. I made money betting on UNC Wilmington. I'm considered taking at least the points because they're big underdogs in that.
Yep.
But I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they go with an outright upset there. But that's pretty much it in terms of Cinderella. What I did, I'll give you my Final Four because there's a couple in there.
Okay.
So I go Auburn and Florida, who I already told you is chalky.
Yeah.
But I just trust them the most because I've watched them so much.
Okay.
Here are 2. I'm going to go BYU and UCLA on the other side.
Wow.
Those are my Cinderellas.
BYU.
BYU simply because I just watched them in the last month of the season.
Yeah.
Go on the road and take down giants after giant after giant. And I was like, man, this team is feisty. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but them BYU kids are a little bit older.
Yeah.
They've been in college a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I just, again, I think experience matters. I think the moment not being too big on this stage, and that's a team that has already, now it's regular season, but they've already rattled off a bunch of wins, feeling good, getting that momentum. I think they could do it in a bracket scenario. And then I like UCLA. You and I have talked about them all year. You've told me you like Cronin.
Yeah.
You like the defense that the Bruins play. You don't trust the offense.
That's where they lose me.
In their bracket, though, I don't see a lot of teams that can just necessarily out-offense them. I see them slugging it out with all these teams.
Yeah.
They can slow down Tennessee.
That's what you knew I was going to go there.
Yeah, they can slow them down.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they get to Houston, how does Houston play? We just talked about it.
Right.
Defense. They can out-defense. I like Cronin and that experience on that side of the bracket.
Yeah.
So those are sort of my Cinderellas, I guess. BYU and UCLA, I have them both in the Final Four.
Okay, that's fair. I'm going to roll with Drake. Drake?
You knew I had to do it.
I knew you had to do it. Drake's a great team. Look, the thing about Drake is that, one, their coach is a winner. Everyone's been talking about this. He's won at every single level he's been at. He's won 12, 11 straight conference championships or whatever in every conference that he's been in. He's got a team that plays defense and causes turnovers. If you can cause turnovers in March and then on the other end score off of those turnovers, you're a team that has upset written all over you. Cinderella. They need to write a child book about you. Drake is one of those teams. I haven't been so high on Mizzou all year. I'm going to be honest. I haven't been that high on them. But Drake is one of those teams where you could look at the end of March and we could be like, dang, Drake made it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I could see that.
Drake did that. That was, I don't remember that. That was crazy.
I can see that.
And they could be one of those teams. So I'm really high on them. There's a lot of other teams that I'm high on that didn't get as nice of bids. I'm high on Yale. I'm a little nervous about Texas A&M, but Texas A&M has been kind of a little bit down recently. Yale is a team that, can really, really play. I remember Fran Fraschilla telling us about Yale. And his feelings about Yale. So he even agrees that Yale is a good team.
Yeah.
I have a great upset matchup in the round of 32.
I'll bet on it. Give it to me.
UC San Diego versus Yale. I think Michigan is going down in the first round. Sorry, Danny Wolf. You will not be playing against your former team. This is going to be one of those matchups that everybody's going to talk about. Like, what? 12-13? That's how I feel. So those are a couple of my Cinderellas that I see making some big noise.
All right, who do you got in the title game? I'm going to go Florida beating UCLA. I just think Florida top to bottom. As I said, them and Auburn all year long. I got to give them credit. They have been consistent. They have been consistently really good. Not dominant like UConn we saw, last few years. But very solid, complete teams, offense, defense, well coached. Florida's hotter, so I'm going to ride that. I'm going to go Florida beating UCLA in a really interesting, high-rated. Those are two big college brands, period, not just basketball. UCLA and Florida, you also got the football aspect. Those are just big college brands. I'm going to go Gators over the Bruins for the title game.
Wow, Gators over the Bruins for the title game.
Yep.
You got some homer in you.
That's March Madness.
I'm doing a little chalky right now. I can't lie. I am a little nervous about Duke, but then as I roll through, I'm like, Arizona's not beating them.
No.
Baylor's not beating them. You know what I mean? And then I got BYU there. I got BYU to that Elite Eight. I saw that matchup, and I think Cooper Flagg will be healthy and ready to go by then, and fully healthy. He's obviously playing in the full tournament with however long Duke goes, but I just think he'll be fully healthy, ready to go. So I got Duke getting in there. I got Tennessee beating Houston. In the Elite Eight, going to the Final Four. So I think this is a Rick Barnes year. It feels like this team, who is a really smart, heady team, is going to have the opportunity to play for a national championship possibly. And then I got Florida and Auburn on the opposite side as well. But I got Drake. I got Drake going to the Elite Eight. I got Drake going. I'm rolling with Drake, dog, in the Elite Eight. And Izzo's also getting the opportunity. I trust Tom Izzo. This Michigan State team feels like it has some story about it, some oomph about it. I think they're going to Elite Eight and losing to Auburn as well. So Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Tennessee. It feels like what it's going to be for me.
I'll just leave you with this. If I had $1, just $1, for every year I said, this feels like a Rick Barnes year, I wouldn't even be hosting Hold My Banner right now. I'd be on a beach with an umbrella in my drink.
And that's the thing about me, Travis. I've never been the guy to say it's going to be a Rick Barnes year. And this is my first time.
It's your first time.
Being like, I feel like this Rick Barnes team has something to them. Yeah. So Tennessee's been hooping, dog.
Yeah,
They've been hooping, dog.
They have.
So, I'm rolling with Tennessee, and I got Duke and Auburn in the national championship game.
And you like Auburn.
With Auburn taking it. Shout out to, them and War Eagle and all that.
All right, let the madness begin. In 30 seconds, we will preview the women's side of the bracket as well. But first, do you want the latest on the Patriots and the NFL? We'll tell you what Mike Vrabel and the Pats should do. Emphasis on should do. Syllable with the 4th pick in the NFL draft on Nesson's football podcast, Foxborough Rush. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, Tay, I'm looking at the women's bracket too.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you what jumps out, because this is a tremendous bracket to me as we show it on the screen here for our viewing audience. But I'm going to complain right out of the gate, okay? Even though this is fantastic and there's so many great teams.
Why?
Bro, I hate that we're getting UConn against USC in the damn Elite Eight, potentially.
Yeah.
And not for a natty. Like, they should have that lined up where that could be the natty.
Yeah. Like
Juju against Paige. Are you kidding me? I live for that. And we're not going to get it. Now, granted, it's still cool as an Elite Eight. You got to get there. Maybe those two great players have to get by one another in order to reach a natty.
Yeah.
But, man, there's so many great teams in this thing. You mean to tell me you couldn't finesse it to where that could be a potential championship game? I can't stand that, Tay.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. It is annoying that we're not going to possibly get that championship matchup out of them too. But look, I can tell you, what we're going to get, which I believe at least that we're going to get, is 2 back-to-back monstrous matchups for Juju. She's going to play Georgia Amore.
Right.
At Kentucky, hopefully, in the Sweet 16.
Huge.
And then in the Elite Eight, play Paige Beckers in in that Elite Eight matchup. Travis Thomas. You could not ask for more box office. People home may not know who Georgia Amore is, but that girl, 19 points a game in the SEC, she can hoop. She's going to be a top 10 pick in the WNBA this year. So you better start watching now. Hopefully they get an opportunity. They got some tough matchups. They're going to have to play against Kansas State probably, which is going to be a tough matchup for them to get the opportunity to play USC. But we're going to have box office basketball all around this bracket, not even just dealing with USC and UConn.
Facts.
We're going to get hopefully Ohio State versus Texas. That's going to be a matchup. Even Texas, hopefully ends up playing against Notre Dame in the in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
That would be an insane matchup. You're going to have Sonia. You're going to have Olivia. They're going to be there. They're going to be ready to play against a Texas team. This is a Texas team. This isn't a star-ridden team, star-led team. They play together. They play together. They're a team. So it's going to be a lot of great matchups all around this bracket. Man, I can't wait to watch.
Bro, I'm looking at the region you're talking about right now as we speak. It's in Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, TCU. Louisville. This is a region, dog.
Right.
Tennessee.
Right. Like if TCU could end up meeting up with Notre Dame too, HBL versus Olivia Noble.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. All right, let me give you my Final Four.
Yeah.
I do believe in UCLA here. I mean, that's another team. Like, I would never say they're undervalued, but there's so much talk about.
You just love UCLA.
I mean, bro, think about this: men and women. What I'm predicting could both be in the Final Four. That's insane.
Hey,
that's UConn stuff.
It's happened before.
That's UConn stuff. Right. I want to go UCLA. I just think with all the talk about South Carolina this and South Carolina that, and then Paige Beckers and Juju and all this. Texas even. Yeah. In a weird way, UCLA is kind of going undervalued here. I'm going to go UCLA. I will go UConn.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously a huge game. Beckers against Juju, UConn against USC. But I think UConn wins it. In fact, spoiler alert, before I give you the rest of my Final Four, I think this is Paige Beckers' time to finally win this whole thing.
Uh-oh.
She's too great of a player. And she's literally won every single accolade, individual, pretty much every team thing you can win outside of a natty. Feels like it's her time. I'm going to go UConn, UCLA. I'm going to still go South Carolina, even though I feel they're not as strong this season as the past. But what am I supposed to do? Bet against Don Staley? I'm not doing it.
No.
And then that's so chalk. I'll give you a 3 seed. We just talked about that damn region being the toughest in Birmingham.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Notre Dame. I like Olivia Miles. I like that team. I think offensive, defensive, they play both ends. They're tough. They're gritty. And no one, again, because all these stars and these big teams, no one's really talking about Notre Dame as a 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Notre Dame here. So UCLA, UConn, South Carolina, and Notre Dame is my Final Four. Kind of chalky, and I'll go UConn to win the whole shebang. Could be Gino's last championship, too. Paige's finally, like, kind of swan song, gets a title. I don't know how many more years Gino Auriemma has left. I'm going to go UConn. I think it's their moment.
Oh, man. Look, I love your bracket. I love what you have to say, but we could not be completely off.
You're going Juju, aren't you?
Juju's winning national championship.
Wow.
Yep. Juju's winning national championship. Ooh. She's going to get another chance to play against UCLA. They beat them twice, lost once when it counted the most, when
That's
they counted
right.
the most. You know what I mean? In the Big Ten championship game or in the Big Ten playoffs. But I think South Carolina is still getting there. I think they're going to play USC in the national championship game, and Juju has her opportunity. Now, if you want me to talk, that's chalk, obviously.
Yeah.
I think West Virginia is making the Final Four.
Okay.
I love this West Virginia team. This West Virginia team has J.J. Quinterly, who's a bucket getter. Averaging 20 in college at any level, you're a problem. This West Virginia team, yes, they're going to have the talk about how the men got snubbed. They're going to have all that talk. Forget that. This women's team coming in as a 6th seed, I just think they're feeling snubbed. They feel like they should have been respected a little bit better. They've been up and down all year. Jordan Harrison's also a great player who does a lot for them as well. I think this West Virginia team could make the Final Four. I don't trust North Carolina. I don't trust Duke. Sorry. Sorry. I don't trust either of those North Carolina schools. North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Duke. I don't trust either of you. So that's why I feel like West Virginia is going to have a shot at the Final Four on the women's side. And then on the, it's tough, man. Like, I'm going to say UCLA. So UCLA, USC, West Virginia, South Carolina. That's how I'm rolling.
Woo! I just love it. Bro, this is just it's the best time of the year. Go ahead.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
West Virginia's not making it to they're making it to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
South Carolina's making it to the Final Four, and then Texas, I think, is going to walk into the Final Four as well. So South Carolina's going to West Virginia's going to have a tough matchup. They're not beating South Carolina. That's all I'm saying. But I think they're getting the Elite Eight.
I'm going to give you another sleeper in that Birmingham region.
Yeah.
Maryland Terps.
Uh-oh.
Just telling you. Hey, Brenda Freeze. By the way, I was talking about UCLA, how I think both the men's and the women's teams are going to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Maryland. I'm just saying. Maryland on the men's side.
I'm not sleeping on them.
Maryland on the men's side and Maryland on the women's side. whoever comes out of that Birmingham region, bro, is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is.
Don't sleep on TCU, honestly. You know what I mean? On the women's side. Like, don't sleep on TCU on the women's side. They are easily a team that I could see making it to the Final Four as well, you know? Yeah. And even Notre Dame. Like, they have that Texas side of the bracket. Yeah. That Texas side, that's tough. Like we said, it's tough.
No doubt. All right, now we'll switch gears back to the NBA, and Ante and I will yell at each other about a bet I made that looked real bleak, but it's starting to have some life again. We'll do that in 30 seconds. But first, stream the entire Red Sox season with a NESN 360 annual plan. It's available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month, paid annually, and for a limited time, get this, you get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit NESN360.com to sign up today. Well, Mr. Campbell, it looks like you owe me and Rockets Nation an apology.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I wish I had the capabilities of going back and clipping off all the slander from you over the past few weeks. But don't look now. Them Rockets are hot, baby. 7 in a row. You're damn right. And if you look, they are back where they belong. The number 2 seed. Show your face. The number 2 seed in the Western Conference, which I believe have been telling you all along. And what were you saying? Oh, Travis, they're down to the 4 seed. Oh, they lost again. They're down to the 5. And that is your voice. And then what did I tell you back? I said, hey, bro, they're just young. You call these growing pains. See, you don't know nothing about that because you a young buck your damn self. But I was trying to tell you as your OG, as big bro, as big homie, that these are the things that happens when you're growing, okay? And they are growing, and they full grown. Ime got them boys playing like they supposed to be playing. They're the number 2 team in the West, and I'll tell you something else. It's going to be the Celtics against the Rockets in the NBA Finals. And even though all of us respect Ime around here, we do respect him, and we thank him for his service with the Celtics. However, it ain't your time, okay? And you know it, Ime. Celtics in 5. But I like what you're building in H-Town. The floor is yours.
Who have they played?
Hey, don't do that. No, this is not the day for you to do that. This team was in a free fall, and you had something to say. Now they're hot, and you just said, well, who'd they play? Who'd they play? What about when they were losing games? You weren't saying, oh, well, I mean.
I was saying, the Nets twice. You don't remember me yelling at the Nets
and I
twice.
told you that didn't mean anything, and I was right. You can't even apologize to the Rockets fans. You owe them an apology.
I can't even find a playoff team that they beat.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Can I find a playoff team?
What's next?
That they beat?
You're going to tell me they're going to lose in the first round? Is that next? They're going to lose in the first round now?
They beat the Orlando Magic in this 7-game win streak. That's the best team. 8 seed in the East.
Oh, my God.
Ooh.
Houston, I want y'all to know I should be welcome at the State Fair.
They beat the Pelicans, who were in the Cooper Flag territory. Ooh, they beat the Phoenix Suns, who aren't even a playoff team right now. Oh, they beat the Dallas Mavericks, who are in the 10th seed in the West. Oh, they beat the Bulls, who are not in the playoffs.
You see how you do?
In the East. Oh, they beat the 76ers, who we talked 15 minutes about how terrible they are and how we're looking on the next season for this team already.
Facts.
And it took a tip-in by Sengun and a 25-point comeback to win that game and go to overtime. Oh, at home for the Rockets. Oh,
so disrespectful, bro.
Like, you know what, Travis?
What?
I'm looking at the playoff season right now. I'm looking at the playoff season.
So am I.
And we understand playing whatever. Who cares? If playoffs started today, we're recording this,
bro,
they would play the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I mean, they're winning that series. The Rockets are winning that series.
Huh?
And who? Huh? He doesn't have any out, and he's not playing that great this year any damn way.
So who's not playing that great?
Ant ain't been all that all year long. You acting like Ant been an MVP this year. Why do you think they're there? I'm not blaming him. He needs help, but he also hasn't lived up to expectations. I'm telling you right now, Rockets win that series. I'll give Ant props for being the killer instinct that he has, being the killer that he is. So I'll give him 2 games, Rockets in 6. I'll make that bet right now if you want.
Hey,
I'll make that bet right now if you want.
You're tripping.
How?
Well, first of all, in their last 12 games with Julius Randle back in the lineup.
Oh, Julius Randle.
Hey, he's a part of their team. They made a trade. He's their second option. Is he the greatest second option in the league? No, but he is their second option. Look, Travis, their last 12 games, they are 11-1 with Julius Randle in the lineup. Pacers, who they just lost to, they lost on a game winner. On a game winner. Ooh, you love the Pacers. You think they're a great team.
Let's slow down on that.
You love the Pacers. You think they're a great team. You think they're a great team.
I thought they would be.
You think they're a great team. So they beat the Nuggets by 20 in Denver. They beat your Orlando Magic.
That was last season. I gave up on them.
Who the Rockets also beat. But I'm just saying, who the Rockets also beat.
Why do you hate the Rockets?
You know what I'm saying?
Did you lose money like betting against Hakeem back in the day? What happened?
No.
Like what happened?
This team is just not ready. They're not ready, Travis.
They're not losing first round, bro.
They
You're talking about
losing.
Julius Randle.
You're talking about Anthony Edwards.
I like Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards gave the Nuggets 2 games.
Yeah.
When they went on to win a championship.
I don't even think it's going to be the Wolves.
This Rockets team's not winning the championship, and you don't think he could give them 3 at least?
Let me show. Let's be
fair.
That
series is at least going to 7.
Let's be fair. 7. Okay.
At least
let's be fair to some of the other teams in position. It could be the Warriors, which I'll admit I want no parts of.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm not worried about the Wolves, but I'm good on the Warriors.
You're tripping.
Please avoid my Rockets. And then the Clippers, who I have no worries. I have no worries about the Timberwolves or the Clippers. If I get Steph, I'm a little nervous.
If I'm them, I'm not. I don't want to see Kawhi and James Harden in a playoff series.
I do.
If I'm them and Ty Lue, I don't want to see them in the playoff series.
Who would you be more nervous of if you weren't so disrespectful? You were a true Rockets fan. No. Timberwolves or Clippers?
Timberwolves for sure.
You'd be more nervous with the Wolves?
Yes. I saw Anthony Edwards. Mind you, let me take you back to that season, right?
Yeah.
Wolves play them in the first round. 2 games, 6-game series, right? Win 2 games. Nuggets go on to face the Suns. 2 games.
Yeah.
KD and freaking Book by themselves. LeBron got swept.
Facts.
So if Anthony Edwards could give you a game against them, he's not giving you 2 or 3 at this point in his career against the Rockets?
Rockets is 6.
Against a young Rockets team?
You heard your tone right there? That's where you're wrong. Do you see this team play defense? They didn't play it the other night. I watched a game that it went to overtime, I believe. They came back, but it was $140 on both sides. I said, what is this? But it also showed me, hey, they can give it to you how you want. If we have to win in a track meet, we're young, we could get that done. But defense is their calling card. Outside of Steph, none of these teams worry me. I'm just keep it real. Clippers nor the Wolves.
Bro,
Rockets in 6.
Quentin Grimes gave them 46.
Yeah, that was a problem. I mean, he's hot right now.
O'Shea Brissett, who could barely find a team, played 43 minutes in that game.
That was a game I'm
referencing.
They
were down 25.
They were down. They needed all the chips on the table to come back.
And Fred VanVleet got ejected.
Rockets Celtics in the NBA Finals.
Chuma Okeke played in this game for the 76ers.
You're welcome, everyone. See you in Houston. I'll be welcome there. Ante Campbell won't. Let's end it with our one league pass game to watch. Listen, I'm be honest with you. I mean, all these games tonight stink. I'm looking at Thursday night. Bucks at Lakers, self-explanatory. I mean, obviously, Dame and Giannis against Luka and LeBron kind of feels like a world tag team championship for the belt. So I'm in. What about you?
You think I'm watching NBA basketball this week?
You're Mr. NBA, bro.
You think I'm watching NBA basketball this week?
All week? You're punting on the week?
We got first four, baby. First four. Women's action tonight. Men's action tonight. I'm locked in. NBA, see you in 3 weeks, dog.
You can't watch all the above, bro?
Yeah. Hey, see you in 3 weeks, dog. At least this weekend, I won't see you. I'm gonna be at home with the second family. You know, I got a business trip, dog. You know, I got a business trip. You know, kissing baby,
shake hands and kissing
baby. Work
baby.
was so crazy.
You are the wildest.
Yeah, I'm with the mistress
so
this
what are
weekend,
we doing
dog.
on Banner? We're just gonna talk March Madness. What am I the only one that's gonna talk NBA?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So for a week, you're Dickie V. Like, well, come on here. You'll give us all those songs, baby. I would like to apologize to everyone for Ante Campbell's disrespectful behavior to the Rockets and then his way too turn up for March Madness. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I ain't gonna lie though.
You're gonna be right there.
I'm
with
gonna
me.
be.
We're gonna be in that office watching every game, dog. You know it. We're gonna be recording our next episode. Like, hey, bro, you see that score? UConn is going crazy right now, dog.
I know. I'm fronting.
Yeah, come on.
I do love March Madness,
yeah.
But I will be watching the NBA too. You at least gotta check on some scores or something, bro. You can't leave me out on an island.
No Bron.
Yeah.
No Paul George.
Yeah.
The injuries are rolling through.
Yeah.
No, the season's gotten over at this point. You know, we're figuring out where teams are going to land in their seeding.
Yeah.
I'll be watching, but, you know, the Celtics don't play again until Friday. So I got some time. I got some time.
Well, I can't wait till the playoffs start. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm going with you on that March Madness crazy train that you're on, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And we started the show with one shining moment, and we ended with this show. For Ante Campbell and Travis Thomas and the March Madness. That's it for us here on Hold My Banner. Till next time when we ask you to hold it again. Peace.